Mark time, hard. Left turn, hard. Color guard, up. Freeze it, hard. Right turn, forward. Forward, forward. Lift, lift, lift. Right, lift, 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 lift. Right, lift. Mark that, forward. Left turn, forward. Color guard, up. Order, on. Ready, two. Parade, rest.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming out on such a wonderful November morning. It really is an honor to be standing in front of you and playing a small role in taking a few moments from our busy days in offering our appreciation for the men and women who have provided service to this great nation. As a way of getting us started, I'd like to invite Dean Luke Powery to the podium to give a invocation.
Let us pray. God of all creation, this is the day you have made, and we rejoice and are glad in it. We bask in the glory of the shining light beaming on us in this moment, as it reminds us that there is still light in this world, and you are the light of the world. As we stand in front of this great towering church that rises above us, we are reminded of the great men and women whose military service soars with sacrifice, honor, dedication, courage, purpose, and humility. We thank you for our military veterans who gave their lives that others may live, for their preparation and commitment to lead and serve, for their faithfulness to their mission, for their care for the country, and for their fight for the freedom of all. May they feel honored, not just today, but every day, and may they never be forgotten or ignored. May they experience the gratitude of the nation and of those who gather here today as we celebrate their contribution to the world. If they've endured loss, meet them with comfort. If they have wounds and scars, bring healing, for you are the balm in Gilead. If they are isolated, surround them with a great cloud of supportive community. And when they are down, pick them up and embrace them with your eternal, soothing love, affirming that they are your beloved children. On this day, bless them far beyond all their expectations, and pass on your peace that it may fill their hearts and minds with the beauty of the light of this day. Let there be light beaming on them and through them, that all may see the good they have done for us all. As they have worked for peace, let us all strive for peace, remembering, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And as your children, inspired by veterans, lead us to help somebody as we pass along, to cheer somebody with a word or song, to show somebody if they're traveling wrong so that our living would not be in vain. Let our veterans know that their living was and is not in vain. Thank you for the living witness of those we honor today and for their selfless service, which inspires us all to do the same. Lead us, O God, to serve and not wait to be served. In the name of the one who serves us breath and life every day. Amen.
Thank you, Dean Powery. I ask you to take a moment and join me in a very quick round of applause for both our ROTC membership as well as for that great kickoff song from Duke a cappella group Out of the Blue. Please join me in a round of applause. It truly is my pleasure to be standing in front of you this morning and again taking a little bit of time from our schedules to honor the men and women who have been part of this celebration and honor those who have served this great nation. Most of us have family members or are service members ourselves. We know mothers, fathers, grandmothers, grandfathers, brothers, sisters, friends, neighbors, all who have played this most important role. Here at Duke, we have over 800 of those individuals who are faculty, staff, and some of our students who have actually played this great role. Today, we want to take a little bit of time to take a step back and to really reflect on the selfless service that each one of them have provided to this nation that allow us to enjoy the freedoms that we sometimes take for granted on a day-to-day basis. So on behalf of all Duke, and certainly for me personally, I want to extend my sincere thank you to everyone who is in that category. The last several years, I've had the opportunity to introduce to you a member of our community who is a veteran to come in front of you to spend a little bit of time to talk about what it means to be a veteran and how it fits into this larger fabric of the American society. This morning, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce to you someone who I'm very proud to call not only a colleague, but also a close personal friend, Dr. Fail Wynn. Dr. Wynn serves currently as the Vice President for Durham and Regional Affairs at Duke. He's worked for more than 10 years serving in that capacity, and 28 years as President of Durham Technical College. But he first started his career in the United States Army. Fail has a very unique military history. It's always been part of his life. His father left college to join the Army during World War II and became part of the first group of black military airmen, the Tuskegee Airmen. He began his own military path in the ROTC program at the University of Oklahoma. As someone who spent time in Texas, I'll give him that as something we're supposed to be proud of in Oklahoma, but that's a hard one for me to say. He was commissioned as an Army officer in 1969 after serving with the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg. He then was sent the following year to serve in Vietnam, where he led a reconnaissance unit of the 1st Squadron. That was referred to as the 1st Cavalry of Blackhawks, attached to the 101st Airborne Division. When Fail returned to the United States, he served with Special Forces at Fort Bragg, John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center, and School. Fail's leadership, service, and sacrifice for others is what distinguishes him and those like him. We're proud to call him a veteran. Please help me in welcoming Dr. Fail Winter.
Well, thank you, Kyle, and good morning, everyone. For years, I've been trying to help disabuse Kyle of the notion that there actually is a state of Texas. It's really Baja, Oklahoma, and eventually he'll understand that it's really the southern part of the great state of Oklahoma. Well, thank you for affording me the opportunity of making remarks on this Veterans Day observance. Veterans Day is intended to thank all veterans for dedicated and loyal service to our country. The Veterans Day observance has a special and personal meaning for me as a Vietnam War veteran, the son of a World War II veteran, and the father of a United States Marine who has served both in Iraq and Afghanistan. But most importantly, I have eternal respect and gratitude for all veterans throughout the history of our nation who have sacrificed being away from home, and in many cases have made the ultimate sacrifice, all in fulfilling their patriotic duty to preserve freedom and protect the United States of America. May I ask all veterans and all active duty service members in the audience to please raise their hands. And let's, on behalf of all assembled here, we thank you for your sacrifice and your service. And also, are there any Vietnam veterans in the crowd? Thank you, sir. And any veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan? Thank you for your dedicated service. I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to pay tribute to a very special group of veterans, a special group of unsung heroes. And I refer to those African Americans who volunteered to serve their country in World War II and to fight for freedom even though they were living in a segregated America and had to serve in segregated all-black units. Two of these black veterans were heroes to me, my father and my uncle. My father and my uncle were college students in Oklahoma, attending the only college in the state that accepted African Americans when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. After my father completed his sophomore year of college, he asked his father, my grandfather, if he should enlist in the armed services. My grandfather, who had attempted to enlist but was turned down because of his age, told my father and my uncle it was their patriotic duty to directly support the war effort even if they were unhappy with the racial discrimination and segregation prevalent at that time in America. My father enlisted in the Army and was later transferred to the Army Air Corps, where he was selected for pilot training at Tuskegee Air Base, and my uncle enlisted in the Navy and served on a destroyer in the Pacific. And related to that, Today there is much controversy over some National Football League players that sit or kneel during the playing of the national anthem. Many citizens view this as disrespect to the nation's flag. The participating NFL players counter by saying that these are gestures to protest injustice and inequality and are not meant as a sign of disrespect to the flag. Whereas the participating NFL players may be sincere in their belief that they are not disrespecting the flag, I would say that in the minds of veterans of all color, and particularly combat veterans, those gestures are offensive and disrespectful to both the flag and its legacy. My son has been a member of the United States Marine Corps for 21 years, and one of the most revered and iconic symbols reflecting the dedication, patriotism, and sacrifice of United States Marines is the photograph and the statue of 6 Marines raising the United States flag on Iwo Jima after a prolonged and bloody battle in World War II. And as a matter of fact, 3 of those 6 Marines that raised the flag were killed in the days immediately following the raising of that flag. And as my former Special Forces brothers would say, don't disrespect the flag if you haven't risked coming home under one. In other words, if you have not risked coming home in a flag-draped coffin. So yes, there is injustice and inequality in America, but there are other, less offensive ways to protest this inequality and discrimination. So going back to the importance of Veterans Day, of course the veterans we honor include those who served in the active military, the reserves, and the National Guard. And we must remember that these sacrifices are, in fact, shared sacrifices, shared between the families of the veterans, their spouses, the siblings, the parents, and the children. So the families are also unsung heroes, not only sharing in these sacrifices, but providing that invaluable support system that helps to maintain morale and commitment to the cause. So we also extend thanks and appreciation and gratitude to the families of the veterans, past and present. The Veterans Day Observance has a fascinating history. The day was originally known internationally as Armistice Day to commemorate the end of World War I hostilities, which took place at 11 a.m. on November 11th, 1918, which was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. So the entire world thought that World War I was, quote, the war to end all wars, unquote. Had this been true, the observance may still be referred to as Armistice Day. However, the dream of the war to end all wars was shattered in 1939 when World War II began in Europe. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower, himself a veteran and Supreme Allied Commander during World War II, President Eisenhower signed a bill replacing armistice with veterans and proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day and calling on Americans everywhere to rededicate themselves to the cause of peace. And in that regard, it should be our hope and it should be in our prayers that all future military service will be peacetime military service. Thank you again for the opportunity to address you this morning. And again, our thanks and appreciation to all veterans and their families. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Wynn. And let us take a moment to thank all of those who have worn the uniform to protect our freedom. Please join me in showing appreciation for Dr. Wynn and all of the veterans here today and those that cannot be with us by having a moment of silence. Thank you. As you go about your day today, please take a moment to reflect on the freedoms you have and the many veterans who served our country to protect them. And now I would like to invite you to attend the Wreath-Laying Ceremony presented by Sterling Wilder, Associate Vice President of Alumni Affairs, for the laying of the wreath honors those alums who have served and are no longer with us.
Color guard, attention. Carry, color.
Please follow us to the placement.